Hello. Today I'm going to attempt to do something faintly musical with that poor misfit of the major scale modes, the Locrian mode. I find this is the one when people first are introduced to it, they find a little bit uninspiring. They're not really sure how to go about using it. So there are hopefully a couple of ideas here that you might find useful. Not meant to be a definitive guide or anything like that. There's tons of other stuff you can do with it, but I hope this all sort of helps some people get the ball rolling with it if you've struggled to hear the musical potential in it before. So first of all, what the Locrian modal scale is. I'm going to play this in the key of E. So our root note is E. So we have a root note, a minor second, which is F, a minor third, which is G, a perfect fourth, which is A diminished fifth, which is B flat, a minor six, which is C, a minor seven, D, and then back to the root. So upon first hearing, I can understand a lot of people feel that hasn't really got an awful lot going for it. It sounds pretty out there. The reason for that being, well, there's a couple of reasons, I think. First of all, is that it has two of the two most dissonant intervals you can produce, which is the minor second, which is that sound, and the diminished fifth, which is that sound. So a lot of dissonance all round. It also doesn't contain a perfect fifth, which would be a B note in this case. The perfect fifth is a real stabilizer. It gives a lot of strength and stability to the overall harmony. Without that, things can feel a little bit rudderless, and it can be hard to sort of find where the resolve is in the scale. But it does have some elements that are pretty familiar to, I would say, most guitar players as well. Starting with this minor seventh sound, which for my riff I'm going to play up here. So going from the D to the E, pretty familiar sound to anyone who's ever played rock guitar or heard rock guitar, I would say. So I'm going to lean on that sound pretty heavily for my riff, moving up from the D to the root E. That kind of thing. But we'll add a little bit of a sinister Locrian edge with that minor second. I'm just going to add a little touch of it. I don't want to lean on it too heavily. So something like that. Just gives it a little bit of darkness. And then in the second half of the riff, I'll go back to my move up from the minor seven, but then I'm going to come down the scale like that, going from the B flat, that diminished fifth, A, G, because that minor third, also very, very familiar to all styles of rock guitar. So let's see if we can get a bit of a loop happening with that riff. So it's fairly bleak sounding. You're probably not going to play many weddings doing that sort of a thing, but catchy enough. So now we'll add a little bit of texture to that, see if we can sort of bulk it out, make it feel a little bit more like a song. So I'll start off just by adding a really simple percussive kind of a layer. so we've got a little bit of momentum there. I'm going to add a little bit of bass now. So for this, I'm going to use this octave pedal to drop things down, and add kind of a simplified version of that same riff for a bass line. Let's see. Effective enough. So then thinking about some other textures we could add, the root chord of the Locrian is this faintly unfriendly sounding -7 flat 5 chord, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a -7 chord with the flat 5 added. So in this case that gives us the E note there, our root, our diminished fifth, flattened fifth, B flat there, then the D, the -7 there, and then the minor third, the G, there. Pretty unstable sounding. It's not turned it into a pop hit or anything like that, but it can give a nice kind of texture to that. I'm going to add a little bit of a chorus effect, give it a little bit of a wobble, and maybe just pick some notes from within that, give it a little bit of layering. Okay, good. So I'm going to add one more thing to that, because it's a little bit sinister sounding in nature. I feel like I want to add something a little bit surreal to that. So I'm going to add a backwards guitar part to that to give it a little bit of a psychedelic sort of a slant. And for this, how I'm going to do this, I've got a reverse setting on the looper, so I'm going to reverse that whole thing that I just did and record an overdub. And then when I turn the reverse off, the overdub will then be reversed. You see what I mean? It'll make sense when you hear it. So if I play that again and what I'm going to do for this layer, I'm going to play, I think, just some octaves, and I'm going to lean into that minor second sound a little bit more, and yeah, let's see what we can do there. So I'll reverse that. And then you've got a kind of a backing track where you can explore the sound of it a little bit more. And when it comes to writing melodies or just jamming over the top of it, easier to get into than you might think, because we can relate the Locrian mode to another scale that most guitar players know very, very well, which is the blues scale. If we just take that perfect fifth, that B, out of the equation, we have a lot of the elements of the Locrian mode. Not all of them, but it's a shape that most people are pretty familiar with, so kind of phrasing and so on will feel fairly comfortable, hopefully. So let's just hear what that sounds like. Like that. And then from there you can add in that minor second again, so the F note, for a little bit of extra tension. Let's see what we can do there. like so. And from there, the only other note, the only other note you want to add there is the C note. And then you've got the full Locrian scale. So there we go, a few ideas to sort of get you going with the Locrian mode. If it's been at all useful for you, please do consider liking and subscribing. And if you've got any other suggestions of any other topics you'd like me to have a go at, please leave them in the comments. Thanks very much. See you again.